Yo, do you have a Honda Element? Doesn't matter which year, but do you have a problem when you press the gas and it goes, or you can see the check engine light coming on? I'm gonna show you how to fix that real quick. 2006 Honda Element EXP, and here's the engine. Okay, normal engine bay. Now, I've watched this engine before when I first got it a couple years ago, and I had an issue with the same problem, and I was able to figure out that water had gotten into this plug back here. Okay, see the little plug? That's where the plug got water into it. I took it, take it out, cleaned it out, and it worked. But now the problem is this plug is pulling up another engine code, because that is your Vtec Solenoid. Okay, it's located in the back passenger side, or right side, or left side, depending on where you're standing, of the engine. So if I'm standing here, it's on my left side, all the way in the back. Okay, so you're gonna need a few tools and some Egyptian techniques to get that out of there and replace with a brand new one. And I got the new one from eBay. Here's a Honda Element. It's only a 2006 with 131,000 miles. Well, 132 almost. Check engine light comes on. When I press the gas, I'm only able to get about to 3,000 RPMs before it starts bucking and hitting and then trying to go down. So the problem with that is it's not allowing me to accelerate, and it doesn't let me go past 3,000 RPMs. If you don't have one of these, you can pick these up at Walmart. You can pick them up at any store that sells car parts, and it's underneath the dash, so where you need to connect it. Right there. So, or you can head to your local AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts, or I think anybody does it, and they allow you to get that engine diagnostic code from them. Okay, so right now I'm pulling up 3 codes, and it all leads to rocker arms. Okay, it's a whole bunch of other information. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the car and show you what to replace. All right, here's a unit that I got from eBay, and it comes with the whole setup. You have the sensor and you have your gaskets. So this is what's going to be replaced. Okay, your solenoid, that's what goes back there, and that black is areas where the plug's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this and see if it works. The next thing you want to do when replacing any type of electronic component is remove the battery. You can remove the negative terminal. Don't forget that if you remove the terminal and put it back on, you have a factory radio on the inside to know the code for your factory radio before you disassemble the battery. So if you're going to disassemble this or take apart the terminal, you use a 10mm socket. Just disconnect that. And make sure you push that to the side so where it doesn't pop back up. There it goes. I don't think that's going to move. So hopefully that sensor is a little bit easier to get to than expected, but I'm going to go ahead and move this out the way. And that's for your power steering pump, so be gentle. I'm going to disassemble this bracket as well. I just need as much space as possible. And that's also a 10mm socket. Come on, baby. Make sure you just stick that to the side and don't lose it. So now you have a little bit more space. And this is kind of out the way. So here goes your sensor back here. Make sure you're not an idiot like me and leave this other sensor brand new in your way so you can drop it and break it. So we'll go ahead and stick it right here. Here we go. Coming back here. Sorry about the camera angles, but I'm just using my iPhone. So here we have the sensor, and I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect that. and try to get all this stuff out. But I can't do that while recording, so you're just gonna have to wait and see what it looks like after I'm done. So I removed this cap just to give me some space and a little bit more slack with the cable, because I have to disconnect it. But once you disconnect both these cables, now you have to get the sensor off. If you look at this sensor, you already know it's gonna be installed like this. So you know that it has 1, 2, 3 mounting nuts or screws or whatever you want to call them. And this is going to be the location on that sensor on the car. So use this as a reference. If you want to keep this nearby, because I doubt you're going to be able to lay eyes on it, you're going to have to feel around. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and grab your 10mm, which can take apart a whole Honda. And you're going to get your arm down there, your hand, you're going to try to feel around. So the bolts, whatever you want to call them, they're called bolts. And you can see that one was a little bit oily, so that means there was a leak. So I'm glad that I replaced it. Here's the old one, here's the new one. Make sure they're identical, which they are. And of course I wore gloves, so look how clean my hands are compared to the gloves. That's the reason why I do it. Because I am a nurse during my day job, so I don't want to go to work with nasty oily hands. Okay, all right, so here it goes. And look how corroded and nasty that is. It's probably why it doesn't work. How about that? This one looks fine, but look how corroded and nasty it is in there. It's ridiculous. So it means there's some moisture getting in there. It looks like I said, it's got to be moisture going in there and messing up the connections. I'm gonna have to put some sealant in there, and also make sure there's no moisture that gets in the new one. So a few things you're gonna need is this dielectric grease, and this is what's gonna seal and protect. And you're gonna squirt that on the inside here. And then also, I want to try to use some of this gasket maker, because what I've noticed is the connector is a little corroded on the top. I don't know if I can pull it out so you can see it, but it's supposed to be sealed, and look how cracked and nasty it is. So when moisture sits here, if anything, if a little water or a little rain, it looks like it's going to go ahead and seep right through and go directly into the plug and corrode everything out. So that's usually what I'm thinking is going to happen, and it looks like that's what's happening. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the top and try to seal it a little bit. Hopefully I can, instead of replacing the plug, which is easy to do. It's only 2 wires. I mean, you can replace the plug, but if I go through all that, I'm gonna try a little gasket seal and see what happens, and try not to get this wet at all. That's it. Now, if you needed to repair your connector there with the gasket maker, this is what it should look like. I don't know if you can see it, but all uniform bead pretty much. And you just want it to dry, and you want it to dry just like that. See how it just looks like a cap. And I just applied that with a what's it called, Q-tip. So just like that, let it dry for a little bit, because that's going to go ahead and seal the connector from the top, because it looks like all that cracked material was allowing some type of moisture to get into the connector. So I'm going to go ahead and seal it like that and just wait. And then I'm going to, while that's sealing, I'm going to go ahead and install the sensor. All right, so all I did was grab this dielectric grease, and I just squirt a little bit inside there, and that's going to go ahead and give it a nice seal and a nice connection. So just squirt just a little bit in there, and that's it. So I went ahead and put the gasket in and pushed it down so it doesn't fall out, because you don't want to be installing this and it comes out. So you're just going to want to push it down, make sure it's seated properly. Don't bend the screen either. See, it's not coming out. While you're doing all this, it's a good time to check the engine oil, power steering, brake, and air filter while you're at it. All right, no check engine light, and I'm able to accelerate and drive normally. I don't have to have that bucking and stopping and lowering of the RPMs. So it's all fixed and ready to rock and roll.